join the ranks.
Perfect. Well, I want to start by thanking everyone so much for taking the time to participate in Victory's upcoming virtual career expo. Today with me, I have Mike Ross, who is the manager of talent acquisition and organizational development for General Dynamics Bath Iron Works. I brought Mike along with me today to kind of talk a little bit further about how transitioning veterans, those who are post 9/11 veterans, those that are coming to look for their next opportunity can kind of best put themselves in the light when it comes to these virtual career expos. So, Mike, I want to say thank you so much, sir, for taking the time to participate today.
Thank you, Ryan. I appreciate it. It's always a pleasure to talk to fellow veterans and to be able to help and assist.
Absolutely, absolutely. So real quick, just to let the veterans out there know that we're both pretty legit individuals. I'll go ahead and start. I did 5 years in the United States Marine Corps, 2 combat tours in Afghanistan. Just like most of us, getting out and going through the TAP class and kind of wondering where my next opportunity is going to come from. Would really kind of like to learn a little bit more about your experience in the military and kind of how your transition story could kind of best help those position themselves as they start to make their way into the civilian world.
Yeah, it's funny. So I'm an old guy, right? So I did my 4 years in the Army and Air Defense Artillery, was deployed over to I was in Germany for a while, then came stateside for a while, and we were on rotations to Saudi and stuff. But it was, when I transitioned out of the military, I had you have those what I call the complicated effort of, hey, this was my job in the military, and how many attributable skills are there in the outside world? And mine was 0. So I had literally no transferable skills from the military into the outside world. And that was, I won't say a rude awakening, as back when I got out in '94, it was what I could call a different military a little bit way back then. And maybe unfortunate for me and more fortunate for guys getting out today, that the spotlight of the transitioning veteran wasn't quite as bright as it is today, which I think is fantastic for guys and ladies getting out today. And I will tell you with 150% certainty, I was absolutely lost, had no idea what I was going to do, where to go, what to do, had the feeling that, oh my God, I'm coming out, I can go to work for Raytheon and build missiles and we can launch them. And I'm like a one step below a nuclear physicist, for God's sakes. Yeah, no, that was really met with me reporting to the unemployment office going, what can I do? And fortunately, I got on a path that went, Amanda would actually verify this too, but my path out of the military was left, right, up, down, and sideways until I could actually find a path. And part of that was I didn't have a mentor. I had no one guiding me out of the military. I did go through TAP class, but Ryan, as you know and others know, it is overwhelming when you decide to make that transition out. It's a different world, and the military, fortunately and unfortunately, call it what you will, kind of shuts the door, right? They give you lots of opportunity and lots of tools, but they have a job to do, which is to defend the country. And when you decide, hey, I'm leaving, well, that's totally understandable. And here's your avenue to go out of the military, but we have to move on over here and go continue to defend the country. So, which is completely understandable, but it's a lonely feeling when all of a sudden you decide to transition and trying to figure out all of the different tools and subsets and things and programs and what is right, what is wrong, who do I listen to, who do I not listen to. So I virtually had limited to none of that when I walked away.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Yeah, and I think you're not alone in that as well. I think that's probably the majority of people out there. But so let me ask you this. So everyone's very, very familiar with General Dynamics. It's a household name in the government and defense space. Talk a little bit about about your small town, if you will, in the big General Dynamics city. Bath Iron Works. What are you guys all about? Why do you lean heavily on the military community and kind of what do you offer to them?
Absolutely. So, as you said, Ryan, General Dynamics is a massive entity and it has multiple subsidiaries underneath that, of course, with many different products that many in the military are very familiar with. So Bath Iron Works, of course, has been around since before 1900, and we build ships. That's what we do. We don't build boats, we build ships. So we are one of two manufacturers of the Arleigh Burke class destroyer, which is a little bit of irony, right? An Army guy is doing the talent acquisition for a Navy shipbuilder. It's a little bit weird, but I will say that it's still cool. But we here in Bath, we're in small town, Bath, Maine. Maine is a very small state. For those of you that are not super familiar with it, we have less than 1.5 million people in the entire state, and people are here because it's quiet. It's a great place to live. It's a great place to raise a family. Wonderful school systems. Cost of living's great. If you like to do anything outdoors, this is the place to be. So, when I joined Bath Iron Works back in 2006, it was a time when we were kind of recruiting, and I was the first traditional true recruiter to come on board here. And we had a large veteran population. It wasn't very big at the time, but as we've progressed through, and I won't go into the details of my career, but I left Bath Iron Works to go to another GD entity and have circled back to Bath Iron Works. So I've actually had the pleasure of working for two different business units underneath GD. And where we're at today with what we have going on here, we have about just a little over 6,000 employees here in Bath. Our veteran population is now pushing about 1,100. So we have a massive veteran population that spans every branch of the military in almost every campaign era you can imagine. I think we had one of our last World War II veterans actually retired just a few years ago, believe it or not. And we had his employment here spanned over 50 years. So it's pretty amazing the people that we have here and what we do. But what we have done, and I'm kind of giving you a long-winded answer, Ryan, but hopefully I get there. The veteran component that I desire as the manager here, and that we desire, and I have full support all the way up to the leadership of the organization, is veterans are, in my opinion, the best candidate, hands down, bar none. What they bring to the table, aside from abilities of multitasking, dedication, attention to detail, leadership, and I can go on with the buzzwords for probably 20 minutes, right? And talk about what a veteran brings to the table. The other thing is there's so many intangibles that a vet brings to the table that I can bring them into a shipbuilding community, and I don't care whether they're Air Force or Marine, Navy, Coast Guard, doesn't matter, Army. You point a veteran in a direction and say, here's the mission, execute, and they're gone. They figure it out. They'll figure out how to get point A to point B and get the job done right, effectively, and efficiently. So, those components alone are amazing components to anybody's resume and skill set that I don't think veterans today understand what they bring to the table and how to harness that component that they have and direct it, right? Because there's a lot going on. So I think I've given you a very long-winded answer, Brian. I apologize, but hopefully
Mike, I forgot what we were talking about there for a second, but no, well, so let's kind of touch on that for a second, Mike. So, what is there a specific type of, MOS or, I guess MOS, yeah, that you guys are looking for specifically, within the Bath Iron Works, or is it one of those things where, you just want a dedicated hard charger that, may have to have a clearance or whatever, but is willing to come in and just kind of, get going from the ground up?
Well, it's funny you say that, because just recently here we came through, we were a Platinum Medallion Award winner from vets.gov for hiring, and we recently inked a deal, the DoD SkillBridge deal. So we're a SkillBridge partner. And when I got involved with SkillBridge, I was, of course, slam back to my transition. I was baffled that the military offered a 6-month transition, active duty transition plan, SkillBridge, and I thought that was just absolutely amazing. But when we involved ourselves in SkillBridge, it barred the question to me, to your point, what MOSs do I want? And we really thought long and hard about it. And the long question was any MOS, any rank, any branch, it doesn't matter. We're getting the same core veteran across all facets, and let us take that veteran and mold them into what we want them to be here. But with the training programs that we have locally here at Bath Iron Works, we have the ability to teach them what we need to teach them to be a shipbuilder or a leader in the shipbuilding community. All of the other things that these veterans bring to the table are things that you can't train, right? The Army, I say the Army, sorry, Ryan, I know that offended you, but the military has taught, these veterans all of those intangibles that take so long to bring people up to speed with. So, I would feel slighted if I said I only want to take certain MOSs or certain ranks, but across the board, I would say is what we're looking for.
Perfect. So then let's kind of transition that into, what would some advice be that you would give to a veteran that is coming, into this virtual career fair, and it can span anywhere from, somebody who's just recently separated to, post 9/11 veteran like myself, who's already spent some time in the civilian sector. As they approach this career fair and maybe come to your booth or somebody else's booth, whatever it may be, what are some kind of tips and tricks, if you will, that you would pass down to them to kind of put themselves in the best light?
So one of the things I would say is, you've got to be honest, open, and transparent, right? And don't be afraid to ask questions. Ask questions of the person you're talking to. Are they a veteran? Are they not a veteran? And that's not doing them a disjustice in any way, shape, or form. But if me and you, Ryan, had a conversation before the start of this, and we're all on the same wavelength and we understand each other, and there's a whole different communication method that goes along with a veteran to veteran conversation versus a veteran to non-veteran conversation. So, you want to know who are you talking to, but also what does the company or the organization you're talking to bring to the table for veterans? Are there resource groups available? Is there transition assistance available? Is there training available? And you really want, I advise this to all veterans, find a mentor. Find somebody like yourself, Ryan, or like me that has served, has transitioned, has got a small insight into the civilian world and what they went through. How can you learn from that as a transitioning veteran? So it is complex. Like we said before, there's a lot going on today with veterans that are moving out of the military, and it's easy to get, bamboozled isn't the right word, but you can get almost glazed over with everybody and everything coming at you. Come see us because we do this for veterans. Come see this person because they're doing this for veterans.
Yeah.
You almost have to just slow down for a minute and ask questions. Find a mentor.
Yeah, absolutely. So then, to continue down that path. So, this is kind of geared more towards, the recently separated veterans, right? When it comes into putting together a resume. Like I know when I went through TAP, they said you need a resume and you need to write a resume, and there was probably stuff on base that I could have gone and helped get my resume written, but I'm pretty sure I fell into the 90% of individuals going through TAP, and it's like I could wear my civilian clothes to to base for half a day, and then I get to go home. So it's more of, I'm here because I have to be. But when it comes down to writing a resume or presenting a resume, what are some some tips or tricks that as someone who sees resumes all day, kind of what are some things that you would recommend to kind of beef it up and make it appealing?
Sure. So the first thing that a lot of applicants do per se, and I'm going to generalize a little bit to talk about this, but they throw everything on a piece of paper, they put their name at the top and say, okay, great, my resume is done. Well, your resume is never done. It's a living, breathing document that will grow with you. But the big thing is you got to understand, you have a document, you have a resume that's done, great. So first thing, hand it off to as many people as you can that can read it, review it, and pick it apart until you get to a point where you as the individual are comfortable with the resume, right? The problem with resume writing today is, and I'm an old guy, so I used to tell applicants this all the time. I'd say, go to Barnes and Noble or the bookstore, which I don't even know if there's a bookstore left today, for God's sakes, but I said, go to a resume aisle and grab the book on resume writing. They all kind of look at me. I said, exactly. There's like 1,000 books on how to write a resume because everybody's got an opinion, right? There is no true right or wrong way to write a resume, but there are a million different pitfalls in that process of putting things into your resume or taking things off of your resume or not including them that can be detrimental to the resume. So put it together the way you think you feel is right. But at the end of the day, you have to be comfortable and 100% confident with that resume, because if you're not, every time you hand it off to a hiring manager and they're looking at it, you're going to have that vague bogey in the back of your mind that says, oh God, I hope he doesn't ask me about this because I didn't really dwell on that or I didn't expand on that knowledge. So, one, what would I do? Put your skills on there, put your experiences on there, put your education on there. But depending on who and where you're applying, don't be afraid to put your military terminology on there, right? So there's nothing makes me happier when I have a military veteran apply to me through SkillBridge or what be it that's not afraid to use military jargon, because I understand it and I know what I'm reading. But there is a fine line with putting too much or too little. And quite honestly, it's not a chuckle, but it is fun sometimes to see the more experienced, I'll put the 10 to 12 year veteran that might be the E6 to could be even O3, that has tried to take their military experience and completely civilianize it without
Right.
any military terminology. So I would advise against that. You need to have this hybrid blend of the two. Confidence is key when you're looking for a new position and when you're talking to people, and part of the confidence is to get out there and network with people and share your resume, and don't be afraid to ask the question, is this good, is this bad, what do you like, what do you don't like, what is right, what is not right. It's going to take you a minute, but as I said before, the resume lives and breathes, so every time you apply to a role, the resume changes to the role and to the company. So definitely do not feel that once you write that resume, you're done. It's not over. It's every new application is a new modification. I mean, every application is modification of the resume.
Agreed. Agreed. Yeah. One more thing I wanted to pick your brain about, Mike, is that there's been studies that have come out and shown that for more so the transitioning service member that kind of gets that first gig out of the military, that if they're able to stay a full 12 months, then the longevity and the commitment that they put towards that organization, they end up staying for 10 plus years, if not retiring at that specific company. But that first year, like we talked earlier about the transition from the military to the civilian world, and it can be tough. So what does Bath Ironworks kind of offer to those young transitioning service members? Well, they're not all young, but those transition service members that kind of get into their first gig in the civilian world with you guys. What are some things that you guys have kind of put in place over there that really helps them not only transition but kind of latch on to the company and really grow over the years?
Sure. So we're kind of we're in a lucrative position because, of course, as a DoD Navy shipbuilder, right? Any veteran steps in here, they know that the defense of the United States still exists. The mission still continues, and you can still contribute to that. And that's a lucrative component that we always have that always helps the veteran. But again, beyond that, to your point, Ryan, we have veteran resource groups here. As I said before, 1,000 plus veterans in position, and we do everything we can to pair veterans to veterans and make sure that that community is shared. And then we have multiple different programs and training opportunities inside the organization that allow the veteran to come in, understand the position that they're in. And during the course of that first year, really, the pressure is not on the veteran to, forgive the statement, succeed or excel, but more to understand the organization. When a veteran transitions, it's a tough deal for that first year. You're into this mental roller coaster, per se, of trying to understand two worlds and where do I fit in and how do I fit in. So, we have to have a little bit of patience with that. But really, the aspect we allow the veteran to show up, settle in, learn, understand the organization. And that takes anybody, veteran, non-veteran, about a solid 3 to 6 months just to settle into our organization here, the complexity of what we're doing. I mean, a lot of people go by and they see a destroyer and say, wow, it's big, it's cool, but you're literally talking about the complexity of this warship is about one step down from the space shuttle.
Yeah, that's it's pretty crazy. I've been on a ship. I've never been on a space shuttle before. So
Me either.
I don't know if I can totally say I've been on a space shuttle because I've been on a ship, but but
I'm
yeah,
okay.
but Mike, no, we really appreciate it, and I know that we're really excited to have General Dynamics Bath Iron Works sponsor this virtual career expo, and as always, thank you so much for not only your service but for what Bath Iron Works, for their commitment to the military community and serving those who have served us, and we look forward to it, man, and again, thank you guys so much for your time. We really really do appreciate it.
Ryan, thank you for your service, and to everybody that's attending to their service as well. And, on a closing note, I will tell everybody that I'm here, whatever I can do, whether it's via LinkedIn, networking. I'd love to say I want to hire every single person that attends this webinar, and that is the truth. But aside from that, what I really want to do is I want to help them. I want to help every single veteran that's transitioning. And if that's tapping into my network and getting them a job in California, Florida, I don't care where it is, but at the end of the day, we're all in this together, brothers and sisters, and whatever I can do to help them, I'm happy to do that.
Hey, well, Semper Fi, man. We appreciate it. Thanks so much.